last week we spent a lot of time about talking about what fear is and how it plays out and manifests and all of this. And today I wanted to expand on that a little bit more and talk about what to do to shift the fear. And I've always said, as we've been talking, that you have to become aware of something before you can change it. It has to be revealed, brought out into the light of day, or what other, analogy you want to use for it. But we have to become aware of what our beliefs are, what our fears are, what our feelings are. We have to become aware of who we are, not in the conditioned way, not in the way that who we've been told we're supposed to be, but of really opening up and discovering who we really are. And as a reminder, you can't become anything because you already are all that you want to be. All you're wanting to do is discover who you are. Remove the veils, get the trash off of you, wash off the layers of gunk that uh, has built up on you for years, for lifetimes and lifetimes. And it's a matter of being able to remove that debris from us, the things that are false, the things that do not resonate in truth, that never have and never will. And yet, these are the things that we have been learning to live within the constraints of. Fear is the most debilitating form of energy, of negative energy that a light being can experience, and yet it is the food source for the dark. And again, we talk about the light and the dark, not in the sense of judgment, but in the sense of understanding and recognizing what is truth, what is. And again, if you do not recognize it, we are in a duality. There is positive and negative, light and dark, up and down, uh, all of the dualities that we have been raised with and conditioned and programmed by. And it seems like we're still in that duality, and yet we are moving so far away from it faster and faster each day. In 2012, when the energy came into the planet that shifted us, that put us on this path, it put us in the threshold, the doorway between two rooms, literally. Only this is the doorway between two worlds, two realities, two dimensions. Uh, we had 5 years from 2012 to 2017 to integrate, to learn how to receive and live and experience in the higher vibrations. Because ever since then, the energy that's being sent to the planet has been an increasing light and love, and it is raising the vibration. Gaia said no more. Gaia said, I'm done. She, the being that represents Gaia and that is a fifth dimensional conscious being. And just because the form that Gaia takes is the planet we call Earth and our home, does not mean that it is not sentient in that way. Lowered her vibration to the third dimension to give us all the opportunity to have this experience. And what we are learning from this not only applies to our soul life, to our physical life in this world, but it applies to our soul's evolution, our soul's wisdom and knowledge. There is a purpose for everything. And one of the reasons for all of this that's happening is for our soul's evolution. And that statement in and of itself is so deep and wide that we really can't comprehend what that means. We have a perspective, we have a knowing of it, and a lot of that is due to the fact that we are waking up, we are remembering. We have been getting a lot of work done on us in dream time. We're getting our DNA reconnected. We're being downloaded with stories. The reconnection of our DNA and the shifting of our physical bodies out of the density that it has lived in into a higher level, being able to incorporate all of the the higher vibrations. It's opening up our memories. We're being things that have been unavailable to us and inaccessible to us, and not by our own doing. Of course, a lot of it is through the conditioning and programming. And yet, as this energy and information is coming into us, we are being given the tools and the know how and the ways to rise above with the vibrations and the things that we need to release, to let go of, to shift, to change, to honor and respect, because they were tools that we used for our salvation and for our ability to survive this world. So nothing that we have experienced in the past can be judged from this perspective. Only have a glimmer and a glimpse of what is to be. We feel it, we know it, it resonates, we're seeing sparks of it throughout our world, and yet it hasn't fully revealed itself yet. But everybody on the planet is aware of it. And whether they're consciously aware of it or not does not mean they are not experiencing the shift in the vibrations, because that is a very real aspect. This is where body, mind, and spirit are becoming one. There is a wholeness, a unity to the being that we call self that we've never had before in these ways. And it's not something that we automatically know without being assisted in remembering. And that's what a lot of the happenings and the things that are going on in our world today are about, is releasing the old, becoming aware of what it actually was and is, and letting it go so that the new can come in. We are experiencing the phenomenon of the phoenix rising. The phoenix is rising out of the ashes, and the head is visible, and it is moving faster and faster. And just the act of that metamorphosis is going to reverberate throughout the entire world and within us as well, because everything that happens to Gaia happens to us because we are a part of her. And we are also a part of the higher realms of the heavens. And that truth is becoming more obvious as we become more whole. And that's what the ascension is just about our wholeness, about us becoming the galactic humans that we were always meant to be. We got caught up in a trap and an experiment that ultimately was to serve the highest good of all of creation. And we are in the end stages of that. And nothing that has happened to us, for us, in and about and around us, makes us victims. We have all chosen, not consciously chosen in this aspect of life, but as a spiritual, evolved being, we have all chosen and were given permission to be part of this process, to have this experience, this wisdom, this knowledge that we have all gained, regardless of the way that it has played out in this life. Whether we were rich or poor, whether we had luxuries, or whether we had hardships, or a little of all of that in between. Each one of us is experiencing what we have needed to experience for our own personal growth. And yet the beauty of that is that the experiences that each of us has had individually is affecting and assisting and empowering and strengthening all of humanity. Because everyone has the ability. And it's not something you have to know how to do. You know, it's as automatic as breathing. It just happens. And we all have the ability to tap into that collective knowledge, that collective wisdom. And yes, in addition to all of the wisdom and the knowledge that is contained, there is also the pain and the suffering that is there as well. And yet that energy is being transmuted as more and more experiences of our awakening, of our love, of our light, of our remembering who we are and connecting. We may not like the person who we have, uh, who ourselves or someone else has chosen to manifest as in this lifetime, but we all recognize the light in each other's heart. And there is that love that is beginning to not be ignored anymore. It's beginning to make itself known. The random acts of kindness. And the sad thing is that unfortunately our media is controlled by the powers that be, and the powers that be are dark. And they are going to create everything that they can to maintain the level of fear so that they can function and continue doing what they do. Love is the food source for the light beings. And again, it's just a different way that each honors, respects, and serves Creator. Um, so it's important to have an awareness of what's going on in our world and shift the crystal constantly to see it from a different perspective. Because we have so many things coming at us, so much information coming at us from so many different directions and so many different agendas that we have to really conscious and discern what is truth. We have to start listening to our heart brain and resonating within our bodies as to the truth instead of listening to what's coming in filtered through ego, filtered through the conditioning and programming. Remember, that's designed to create fear. It's doing a good job of it. It's had 13 millennia to get it down, and they have. And I guess in a way, one could say that that's part of the reason why the experiment is ending, is because the results were achieved that were, uh, or the knowledge and the information that was desired was accomplished as a result of this experiment in free will and free choice. And the huge thing about the experiment that we're participating in that is ending through our ascension is that this is the first time in all of creation that the two types of beings have been together, because you have one being who serves Creator by serving self, and you have another type of being that serves Creator through serving others. And both are just as valid, just as right for the one expressing through that energy. This is not about a judgment. This is about awareness. This is about understanding. Because the dark thinks that the light is just as messed up as the light thinks the dark is. That's why there is such conflict. Because each being, based on the beliefs they hold, is coming from their own truths. We have to be aware. We have to be collectively conscious and make the choice as to where we're going to put our energy, what beliefs we're going to feed and what beliefs we're going to eliminate, because they do not resonate any longer with who we choose to be and how we choose to experience and express in this world. That's what it's all about. And everything that I have shared with you over these past shows has been about assisting that process, giving you different ways, tools and techniques and stories and ideas and opportunities, sharing others' experiences of how they came into the awareness of the truth that we're talking about here. All of this matters. All of it is so important because each person is walking a different path. And it doesn't matter how parallel the paths that you're walking may seem in this life. You've never lived the past lives together and in the same way. We all bring with us all of the knowledge and all of the wisdom, all of the lessons, all of the gifts that we learned in the previous lives, or in the lives that we have lived with we're not conscious of because we're focused in this one. Everything matters. You shifting your crystal doesn't only change your present, but it also changes your past. And think about that. We talked a couple of shows back about how you can how you can change your memories. When you have always beat yourself up and thought of yourself as being unworthy and unacceptable and unlovable and less than and not enough and not important, because that's what you have heard and that's how you've interpreted all of the non-physical signs throughout your life. Whenever that's all you've had, then how do you know anything else? But yet there is a part of you that wants to be more, that remembers that you're not unworthy and unacceptable and unlovable, that you are the really radiant, rare, and precious cosmic miracle I keep talking about. We all are. And that's what we're remembering. That's what we're waking up to. We have stories of our history that we haven't got a clue of. And I'm not talking about world history or the third dimensional history. I'm talking about our soul history, about who we are, how we came to be. And the higher realms are letting us know that this information is going to start coming through for us as the light comes into the planet and the love and the information. We're going to remember, and as we remember, there's going to be our ascended masters, the elders, whomever you want to call them, that will be giving us information. And a lot of the times, it's going to be in dream time, and we may or may not have conscious memory of it. Weird dreams, things that are unusual, little odd things happening to you throughout the day or in your dreams are all part of this shift in our conscious awareness, where our bodies are being made less dense. We're not feeling that, but it's happening. And unfortunately, the only analogy I can use for this one is a woman who is pregnant. That is a life that is growing inside of her, and all of her body is changing, and her organs are moving, and everything is getting out of the way to make room for the child. But none of the things that are going on internally are we consciously aware of externally. Sure, we feel the swelling and the nausea and the external symptoms of, quote, pregnancy, unquote. There is so much more going on within than ever meets the eye externally. And it's a deep and wide process. And that's the best analogy that I can think of at this moment to share with you what's going on within our bodies, within every body on the planet. This is more of ourself is with us. Is able to be within. The body was so dense previously that only a small portion of our whole self could fit into it. And as our body is becoming less dense, that means more of us, of the true essence of who we are, is able to manifest within the body. Just for a moment, imagine the changes that your internal body has got to be going through. Every cell, every organ, every muscle, every vein, every bone, everything is shifting in so many ways. We know our body is alive, but we think of it as a collective aliveness. We don't think of it as each cell being individually and independently alive and intelligent. We don't think of the organs of being independently alive and intelligent. whether it's our liver, our kidney, our gallbladder, our heart, our lungs, or whatever part of the body it is. When we start thinking of that part of the body as its own conscious, alive entity, of course it's not human, but it is alive in its own way. And it vibrates with us. It holds our vibration. It is a unique signature. So everything that we're thinking and believing is going to have an effect on it because our thoughts are vibration. A vibration resonates. It permeates matter. So when you start really thinking, even on a limited scientific level, look at what our bodies are going through as a result of what's going on within. And then you compound that with what's going on externally in the world. Because it's the micro to the macro and the macro to the micro. It's that infinity symbol pattern because it's all having to be revealed. And as the stuff outside of us, in our government, in our communities, in our own awareness of our own prejudices and our judgments, seeing it in others and having it be a mirror reflecting, we get to see it from a whole different side. Is the reflection in the mirror what you want to see? Is it what you want others to see? Is it what you want to reflect to the world? If it is, then keep doing it. But if it's not, then change it. Let what you're seeing externally change who you are internally, because that external is a vision. It's a mirror. It's a reflection of your own beliefs, your own self. So don't get caught up in the chaos, in the energy of chaos. Rise above it. Let that vibration be what it is without judging it. But make a choice if that's what you want to do, is to stay there or to get out of it. That's all of this is about, is being aware, making you aware that you have choice. And you have choice in everything. The only thing you do not have a choice in is the book that you're being taught from. That's creators. And that's always has been and always will be. But you get to choose how you respond to it, whether you learned a lesson, whether you don't, whether you blame, whether you judge, whether you go inside yourself. You get to choose all of those things. But if you're going to change it, you have to change your belief or your attitude, whatever you want to call it. Remember that whenever a belief is programmed into us, we make things happen to constantly reinforce that belief, regardless of whether it is positive or negative. That is what is. And we have been using this incredible power of choice in the negative. Because on the surface, we didn't realize that we had a choice. And ego did everything it could to keep us from remembering that we did, because ego knew that if we stayed where we were, if we were a conditioned little being, then we would get through this life safe, based on ego's definition. Of course, that's not true. Of course, that's not the way that it works. But that was the belief that ego held. So ego made everything manifest the way that it believed. You cannot get past where you are until you see where you are. And you see where you are by allowing and accepting what is instead of what you want it to be. Because always, whether that belief is positive or negative, it becomes your rule of action until it is recognized and changed. I will say again and again and again, what makes a false belief false is that it was not made with conscious awareness. It was made without conscious awareness. And because it was without conscious awareness, it has control. It has the power. And ego maintains that. Ego said, okay, if this is what you want to believe, we'll make it so. So ego is constantly reinforcing that false belief. Ego doesn't know it's a false belief. Ego just knows this is what you want, what you believe, so it makes it happen. And again, I will say, judging is the original sin. Learning not to judge is the key to releasing your conditioning and programming. Because judgment creates limitations that we place on ourselves. It creates fear, and fear destroys love and understanding of ourselves, of others, of our experiences, of our situation. Fear destroys hope. The real insult to the injury, or injury to the insult of that, is that no matter how hard we judge ourselves, how hard we judge others, we judge ourselves 10 times more. We are not all things to all people. We were never meant to be. We never can be. That is not our process. It's doubt and distrust is not of our nature. We have had to learn that. And as a result, changing our values and beliefs is creating the confusion. And the confusion is creating fear. So here again, we have this self-fulfilling prophecy. And trying to live in the energy of the old way creates pain. How can it not? And each of us is going to get to the point where we cannot hold on any longer, and that we are going to have to let go and indeed grow. It's just like the phrase or the saying, there comes a time whenever it's more painful and difficult for the rosebud to stay a bud than it is for it to grow and bloom into its glory and magnificence. And that's what we're having to do. We're going to go there. We are going to grow if we allow it, if we choose it. Everything is choice. The world is changing, and it's changing very, very quickly. And trying to hold on to the old ways, trying to continue to see everything through that filter is going to create for you struggle, strife, conflict, resistance, and pain. How can it not? You are out of harmony and resonance with the world, with the earth that you live on. You've got to clean house. Each of us has to clean our own house in the same way that Gaia is cleaning hers. Gaia is going to release the negative energy that's stored within her body. It's going to heal the wounds. She's going to do what she needs to do for her own evolution. And we have to do the same. We have to evolve in the same ways. What does that mean? Well, it's different for everyone. Everybody has a different house and a different level of uncleanliness or cleanliness, however you want to say it. You're the one who knows what shape your home is in. You know if it's cluttered and it's got a lot of baggage lying around. You know if it's got a lot of stuff that you no longer need or resonate to, or you don't even want. And you're the one who knows if it's shiny and bright and it's resonant with the energy that you vibrate in. And this is both physical and spiritual. Your physical home is going to be a reflection of your inner home in a lot of ways too. Our outer possessions do have they are also tools that our angels and our higher self will use to get our attention through. Plumbing problems is going to indicate there's a lot of held emotion, stopped up energy in the house. Just for one. But there is a correlation, and everything is connected. And energy is amazing. Energy is incredibly powerful. And we have so much of it. But we've been taught that it's wrong, that it's bad, that it's an illusion, that it doesn't exist. And the only thing that is real are your limitations and what you can't do. What makes you think you can do this or that or something else? You're just a lowly human being. You have no power. You have nothing. And whenever you're hearing that 24/7 over 13 millennia, because it doesn't matter what body we're in, the soul that we are has incarnated in many bodies. The soul has heard it throughout all of those years. This is the first time. The minute we go into spirit, of course we know, we remember. You know, when we leave the physical, this incarnation and go back into spirit, we know what was done, what we experienced. We remember. We know the false beliefs that we accepted. We know the truths that we discovered. But we cannot change in spirit what was created in the physical. As we choose to come into another incarnation, we will choose to bring the false beliefs in as lessons to be learned so that we can release them and reinstill our truth. That's what our lessons are all about, is recognizing and unlearning false beliefs, claiming truth. But it has to be done in the physical. And in a sense, the bitch of it is that every time we incarnate, we start at square one. And we have to be taught again, and we have to relearn it. It's challenging in one sense, but in the other sense, it's a great gift. Because each time, it gives us the opportunity to do it different. Excuse me, I got to wet my whistle here for a minute. Okay, if for those of you who are just joining us, I would like to welcome you and let you know that you're listening to Easy Knowing, and I'm Sherry Kennedy. I would love to hear from you guys. Let me know somebody's out there paying attention. The number is 773-897-6227. And it really would be good to hear from you for just to get your input, your feedback. How are these tools working for you? Are they effective? Are you using them? Let's talk about it. 773-897-6227. And again, if you don't feel comfortable calling in, please go to my website at easyknowing.com. I have the tools listed, the different information associated with each tool. Everything is designed to empower you. I am what I call a teacher healer. Everything that I do is about teaching you how to remember, how to do it for yourself, how to find your own balance. Because I truly believe that nobody has your answers but you, and all anyone else can do is guide you to finding them. And that's what my intent is to assist you in remembering how to use this information. Because this is ancient knowledge. This is ancient wisdom. There is, it's adapted through my perspective and my understanding and my knowing to this time and to the being that we are now and the language and consciousness that we hold at this time. But the concepts, the truths that are held with are old ancient truths. They're universal. And basically a universal truth or a universal law means that it doesn't change regardless of when, how, where, why, and that it is applied. It will always work because it is what is. So, excuse me. So people, those of you who, we're in a time now because, again, we've got until the end of this year. We're going to be seeing, it's only, gosh, the almost the end of February, and look at how much has happened in our world already. Look at how much has changed. This is going to be an intense year, no matter how you look at it. And it will be from the macro to the micro. This is time. This is time for us to finally pay attention, to shift the crystal on how we're looking at the outer world and our world. And, just admit what is working and what isn't. And if it's working, embrace it, keep doing it. If it's not working, just let it go. Pretend you've got your guardian angels standing around. Pretend they are there. Imagine they're there. Use that knowing. Take all of the crap that you don't want to bring with you anymore and hand it to them. You can put it in a bag. You can just hand each piece at a time. Let them carry the bag, following you around your consciousness. Clean your forest. Clean up your yard. Clean up your awareness. Clean up your knowing. Clean up your beliefs. Choose what you want to keep. You have that power. We are incredibly powerful beings. But again, because all of our conditioning and programming has taught us to go to the outside and go outside of ourselves, we're still perceiving the power of being outside of ourselves. We could have the power to read minds and to teleport and to do all of these things. If that was the reward to you doing the inner work, would you do it? Would it motivate you any? Because you can't do those things without having done the inner work. Because that's what it's all about. If we don't remove the blocks that keep us from believing that we can do, that we are this being, then we're not going to ever get there with conscious awareness. We're going to get there just because we will evolve. And that is the process. That is humanity's destiny. And we have all been so blessed and gifted to be here during this time in humanity's history. Think about it. This is the first life. To heck with 13 millennia. But just take the last 5,000 years of our history. This is the first time in all of that time that there has been enough light coming into the planet on a continuing, consistent basis that has allowed us all to be able to wake up and remember who we are. It's like we've all been in this deep sleep, like Sleeping Beauty. And all of the little sparkly things, the little fairy dust aspects are coming in, filtering in our in the atmosphere and being rained down on the planet to wake us up, to help us remember. And just because you can't see it or touch it doesn't mean that it isn't real. We have more than 5 senses in play here. And if you're brutally honest with yourself, you're probably utilizing several of those 5 core senses of the human being to see and validate that what is being shared with you is truth. How does your body feel when you hear the news, when you hear certain things that are being said, versus hearing positive things? When you find yourself reacting in a negative way, are you stopping that energy and shifting it? Just by stopping the negative, you're doing a big step. If you can take it and say, God bless them, that's another huge step. Because each soul participating in everything that's going on in this world is a soul agreement in some way, shape, or form designed to evolve us collectively, to evolve us independently. And every time any one person on this earth, whether it's a starving child in Ethiopia or whether it's a big fat millionaire up in Wall Street, we're evolving the same. We are all the same in spirit. and the place that each has chosen to experience and express in this life as part of their soul's evolution. There is a purpose for everything. And it's not the negative, judgmental reasons that we have been taught to believe that it is. Like I say again, none of us are victims. Things are not happening to us, they're happening for us. It's the person who pushes our buttons is our greatest teacher. And the reason for that is because whether we like it or not, they show us our weaknesses. They show us, and our weaknesses are simply false beliefs that we're defending without having the substance to defend it with. Now think about that. Just the simple act of being aware or being unaware gives you, one gives you strength and power, the other one limits you and makes you weak. And we keep saying, oh, I want my strength and power, and then we exhibit the behavior that makes us weak and less than. Your buttons are a gift, because if you didn't have a button to get pushed, how would you know you had a false belief to change? You don't get your buttons pushed on a truth. You know, when you're in your truth and somebody says something that doesn't agree with your truth, you don't have to get pissed off and angry and argue and fight with them, because you're secure in your truth. You know where you stand. And if they don't want to see it, then that's okay. Whereas if you are not in your truth, if you're functioning off a false belief, you're going to find the need to defend it, explain it, justify it, rationalize it, all to get somebody else on your side, to convince them. Because if you can convince them, you've convinced yourself that that is the truth. And it's just a big old game that we play with ego. With the truth you share, you know, when somebody says something you don't like and you're in your truth, then it's, well, I see where you're coming from. I can share with you how I feel about it. But a truth is, a sharing is not open for debate or discussion. It's simply a sharing. So, again, where is your strength? And how are you defining your strength and your courage and your character? We have so many different ideas. I don't think idea is the right word. Cockeyed. There's a cockeyed perspective that we have with different words. And a lot of it has to do with where and how you were raised, what religion you belong to. It's we've talked before, whenever you ask somebody, define the word love. Well, there's a dictionary definition, and then there's every person in the world's definition. Same with words like wedding, marriage, relationship, parenting. Every one of those words can be defined in the dictionary, but every one of those words has a definition that is a perspective, that is a belief. And if that perspective, if that belief is not to your highest good or is made based on your conditioning and programming, then you're going to get manipulated and controlled through it. And it's not going to have any essence, any power, any stability. It won't hold water. It won't make any difference. Nobody will pay attention to it. So, it's all about choice. That's what the most important thing is. And again, as a reminder, when you give your power away to somebody else, how happy are you? You give somebody the power to make you happy, you give them the power to make you miserable. You have to own it. Instead of saying something like, oh, you make me so happy, you own it. You say, I feel so happy when I am around you. That's your reaction to that person. It's not that person. And that's a distinction that is huge and is necessary to be made. Give it away to somebody else. Own it. You can still share the information and the emotion of the feeling you're sharing, but say it in a way that literally empowers both people. I feel, I think, I believe. Own what you say. Remember, that's first person present. It's my opinion. I believe. It gives you, it teaches you how to speak and how to restructure your communication whenever you are conscious of that. A lot of the way that we talk is lazy, and it's a habit. And we say things just because that's what we hear. And let's face it, we're all easily conditioned. It takes repetition. We know that on every level. And yet we don't think of it all the time until it comes to our attention. So bring it up to your attention. You know? And you got to learn, you got to ask for what you need. It's like if you're thirsty, you're going to ask for a drink of water. If you're hurting, you're going to ask for, help, assistance. But for some odd reason, we can't ask for approval or attention or even a hug or acceptance. You know, it's so much easier to go up to somebody and say, okay, I really admire you and I need some attention from you right now. And that's going to get you instant attention in a very, very positive way. But if you go up and you just bug that person, trying to be noticed, you're creating such negative energy and leaving a bad taste in everybody's mouth. It's so much, you get what you want when you ask for it, because then you're in control of receiving it. You're not having to just take what is offered when that's not what you want. Look at how we're conditioned. And I've said so many times before, when our survival is triggered, it is triggered out of love of self. Hate, anger, fear, and resentment, which are the fight or flight survival mechanism syndrome, come from the love of self. That is the energy through which we are allowed to participate in, or to experience it, rather. There are only, and again, regardless of all of the adjectives that are connected to it, when we resolve the threat or our perceived threat, they're both valid, they're both real. Just because one is physical and one is non-physical does not eliminate the reality, the realness of the perception. Then that energy is returned to love. It's just like whenever the adrenaline is released in the body to give you the ability to carry out the choice to fight or run as a result of the threat. If you use that energy, you go back into balance. If you are consciously aware of that energy and dissipate it, you go back into balance. But if you do neither, you immediately go into imbalance. And that's what will eventually create accident, injury, illness, disease, and unusual behavior for you, because your body will always seek its balance. There are only 3 emotions that don't come from the love, and as a result, they can never return to the love. Those 3 emotions are guilt, jealousy, and obligation. Those 3 emotions are designed to keep you in fear on some level, excuse me, or not. Now, give me a second here. I need to get a little bit more wet. Okay, thank you for that little pause. So guilt, jealousy, and obligation. Those are uh, God, they're illusions. They have no substance. When you start breaking down, excuse me, what those energies really are about, and how they are applied, and how they are used. It's all about keeping you in fear. It's all about keeping you in owing somebody because you're not as good as they are, because they did something nice for you by their choice, but you owe them for that. Uh, you have to look at the feelings that you're having. Are they serving you? Are they about loving self? Are they about your own evolution? Whether that evolution is just to be a better, kinder, nicer person in this world, which will ultimately evolve your soul, or whether you're focused on it from the other perspective. I personally think that you need to focus on it from this one, because this is where we are. This is where we have the power. And it's great to uh, visualize and experience and be in that other energy, but you have to bring what you learned into this realm, into this energy, because this is where it is manifesting and experiencing and expressing. This is why we're being given the information. It's like, for me, an analogy to it is someone who has all of the answers in the universe but never leaves their home, to share it or to interact with anybody else in the world. It's useless. It doesn't matter, because it's not being used, it's not being shared. But when that person takes that energy and that information, that intelligence, that genius out into the world, everybody benefits. So use what you get from your higher self, from the inner realm, from your guides, your angels, but manifest it physically. We are still physical beings in this realm. We have a body. We have an opportunity as a physical person that we don't have, or is very different as a galactic human. It's important for us to embrace the truth of who we are on all levels and all realms. And as I've said again before, be conscious of your feelings and your beliefs and your choices on all your levels, because we have the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual levels that are all entwined within our home. It's like the wiring and the air conditioning and the heating and and all of that it's all combined. It's all necessary to run the home and to make it comfortable and to keep it functioning. We need all levels of our awareness to bring forth and to understand as we discover who we are, and to be able to have the security and trust of self enough to recognize other beings, to connect our hearts, and whether they come in an alien form, in an animal form, in a physical form. Heart is heart, and we need to connect from our hearts in a ways that we've not done, but it's something that we are being given the opportunity to learn to do. So just remember, there is a difference between something being to your highest good and having your own way. And it's not really as important as to why something is happening. It's more important as to what you're being taught from it. When you ask of the why outside of yourself, that's like questioning the book the Creator has presented to you. It is going to be, you'll hit a brick wall. It doesn't matter. There is no answer. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I would hope that you would go to my website, check out the tools, the information. All of my shows are accessible from my website, and the shows are also available on YouTube. Through my website, you can read about the tools. You can read the stories that other people have shared. Check out my book and make a donation. I would be honored and grateful. And I am so blessed to have you joining me here today, and very, very grateful. So, our time is almost up, and I just wanted to say until next week, follow your heart's song and paint the world with the colors of your soul. Bye-bye.
Napa know-how.
A Napa guy knows more isn't always better, unless we're talking about full-size vans. These beasts do more than get you from A to B. They have so much space a man can live in it. With shag carpeting, waterbed, and a sweet lava lamp, these mobile abodes have all the comforts of home. With quality parts and plenty of Napa know-how, you can keep the original tiny house running longer, stronger. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
Welcome to Metro PCS.
Hi, I heard you're giving free phones to everybody?
Yes, right now, everybody gets a free phone. You and your friends, cousins, neighbors, roommates.
What if I'm already with Metro PCS?
Yeah, it's for existing customers, new customers, people named Willie, dog lovers.
That's awesome.
Everyone gets a free phone at Metro PCS. Come choose your select free phone from brands like Samsung and LG. Metro PCS. Wireless figured out. Sales tax not included. Phones free after instant and mail-in rebates. Upgrade fee may apply. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.